Okay. All right. It's recording. Okay. So I get a couple questions here and there. Well, I get a lot of questions, but which is awesome. Like I always want you guys to come to me with your questions. But when I get like the same ones, or I get questions that I'm like, that's a good question that I think I probably need to share with some other coaches. I like to kind of try to touch on them for all of you. Because I find that a lot of times with questions, especially if it's like a newer coach, there's probably another newer coach that has that same question or it's something they're struggling with. And then I always go back and I try to go back and think about what were my struggles in the beginning, or like what were my struggles when I kind of felt like I became stagnant. Or if I get to those moments in my business, what do I do? And I always, try to put myself in your shoes or think about what I do when I'm in those moments. So hopefully I can kind of give you guys some tips to kind of push through that. So the first thing that I want to tell you guys is that it is totally normal to have moments in your business where you're kind of just like, ugh. Like, we're human and we're not little Energizer bunnies. And as amazing it would be if we were all running around like highly energized in the best of moods with the most motivation ever, 24/7, every day of our lives, it's just not realistic. So you're going to have days where just life in general, you're kind of like, look, I'm overwhelmed. I got too much on my plate. Nothing's going as planned. You're going to have days and times in your business where you're like, people aren't responding to me. They're not paying attention to what I'm talking about. They're not reaching out to me. What the heck's going on? And that's totally normal. And a lot of times it's probably not as bad as we actually think it is. We kind of start to like feel down or discouraged about something. Then it's like we start like spiraling out of control with all these negative thoughts. And before we know it, we think that like the whole world hates us and we suck at coaching. So just know that to an extent, being discouraged and having those moments is totally normal, and it is what it is. And that is always just going to be a part of life in general. But what you want to do is you want to learn how to kind of get past those moments and move forward. Okay. So one of the first questions that I get a lot and that I will always get, and it's a question that I had to figure out when I was a coach, was how do I get coaches who want to work the business? That is like the number one thing that we all want, right? Like, okay, we want challengers, and then once we get to the point, well, some of us question like, how do I get challengers? And we can talk about that too. But once we get to the point where we kind of figure that out, then we're like, okay, so now how do I get coaches to do what I'm doing? And again, I always want you guys to come to me with questions, and I feel like I have tips that I can help you with, and I can tell you what to do, and I can tell you what I did, and yada, yada. But I also want you to know that there's not like a magic answer for this question. And it's one of those questions that I can't really be like, here's exactly what you need to say and exactly what you need to do, because it's different for everybody. So it's kind of one of those gray areas. It's not like a totally black and white area, but I'm going to kind of give you guys some tips to hopefully help you get there and kind of figure that out. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is you have to have patience when you want to find people that want to work the business. Okay. And the best example I like to give of why you should have patience is think about yourself, okay? How long did you kind of sit back and think about Beachbody or ponder Beachbody? Or maybe you became a challenger and you decided to do coaching later on. Some of us jumped right in. Like some of us, as soon as Beachbody coaching was presented to us, we were like, okay, I am all in and I'm going for it. And that is awesome. And there are people out there, and you will come across them at some point in your journey, most likely. But the majority of people didn't just jump right into coaching as soon as it was presented to them. Okay. They either had somebody on Facebook that they watched do it for a while. They knew somebody personally that's been coaching, and they kind of waited to see if it was something they wanted to do. They became a challenger first. They fell in love with the product. So then later on, they decided to coach. And most people, it took them a little bit of time to commit to coaching. Okay. And then a lot of times, even when people decide to sign up as a coach, they don't just jump in and start working the business right away. Okay. So if you have discount coaches and you're like, oh, they would be such an awesome coach, but you know, I can't get them to do anything. You do what you can, and you present the opportunity to them, and you continue to inspire them and motivate them. But don't get discouraged if they don't decide right away that they want to make this a business. That might be something that happens later on down the line. And you have to have patience in these scenarios, guys, because if you don't have patience and you're like, I'm going to, you know, force somebody into doing this, or I'm going to persuade somebody into doing it, it's not going to do you any good in the long run. Okay. You want people who want this. Like, you want people who want it for themselves, not people who want it because you convinced them that they wanted it. Okay. And I'm not saying not to, you know, present the idea and not to maybe give people that little push when they need it, because sometimes people do need that little bit of push. Maybe they're lacking confidence, or, you know, they just aren't sure that they would be successful at it. So there's a difference between giving them that little push or completely persuading them into doing something that they're not ready to do. So have patience and just know that it will happen. You're not going to become a millionaire overnight, and that's okay. And I really seriously like to, what's the word I'm looking for? The best analogy I can use is my own personal analogy. And I think about my business and how it grew. And I look at where I am now, okay, with a pretty large team and, you know, a good amount of income that helps my family, a steady income. And I think about when I first started coaching, and it's funny, I actually had a little blast from the past with my coaching recently, because Sadie she has a big project that she had to turn in that we just finished today. And it's a timeline of her life, and she had to like record all the different events for her whole little life. And so I'm like, all right, well, it's time to go back through my Facebook pictures, because I got to find all these pictures. We had to include pictures for every event. So I scrolled through the last 8 years of my life on Facebook, and I'm literally dying, laughing at myself back in like 2013, 2014. Probably even some in 2015. So like my first and second year of coaching, my third year of coaching, some of the stuff that I like put out there and posted, I was just like, what were you doing? Like, you were awful. But you have to understand that when I signed up, I didn't have a lot of guidance. Okay. I didn't have an upline that I could go to and be like, hey, tell me what you think of this post, or hey, what do you think I should do about this? I didn't have that. So I really seriously had to kind of just figure it out on my own. And it was a lot of trial and error. And honestly, sometimes I think that was a blessing in disguise, because it really forced me to dive in myself, become independent, and figure out what the heck I wanted and what was going to work for me. But the reason I say this is because I think about, if I would have had the team I have now back then, guys, it would have been laughable. It would have been comical. I didn't know what to do with a team. I knew I was passionate about this, and I knew I wanted to go somewhere with it, but I didn't know how to, you know, bring people on and help them be successful. I didn't have the self-confidence that I have now. You know, back then, if somebody would have posted a jab at me on Facebook, or, you know, the things that people do to me all the time where they have a nasty comment, or, you know, a condescending comment about something I posted. Oh, saying my connection is unstable. If that kind of stuff would have happened to me back then, and it probably did, I don't really remember, it would have really kind of made me fumble a lot. And it would have taken me time, you know, I would have gotten discouraged, and then I would have had to stop and kind of rebuild myself back up. Now, to the point where I am now, I have the self-confidence, and I know what I believe in, and I know what I want, and I don't care about people's opinions of me or my life, because I know who I am and I'm confident in that. But back then, that wasn't the case. So you have to realize that you have to grow into the business that you want. And, you know, the other thing I like to tell people is, let's say that you start your business where you are, and, you know, 6 months in, you're making $500,000 in income. Or, you know, 3 months in, you're making $300,000 in income, okay, if it really works that way. You would have no idea what to do with that income. You wouldn't know how to save it. You wouldn't know where to invest it. You wouldn't know where to, you know, give it away or what to do with it. You wouldn't know what to do with it. And I know we all sit back and we're like, oh no, I wouldn't know what to do with it. I know back then I was like, yeah, I'll be fine. If I become a millionaire next year, I got it under control. I know what I'm going to do with this. And I would have had no idea what to do with that income. Back then, I would have had no idea what to do with the income that I have now, and it's not even that great. It's not even that large. So just recognize that growing into your business is actually a really good thing, and it's a really good process, because you grow yourself as you grow your business. And then that way, when you have that larger team and you have hundreds of challengers, you know how to handle them. Because that's the other thing. You know, if you're signing on 50 new challengers your first month as a coach, that's awesome. And some coaches do that, and more power to them. But if you're signing on 50 people as a new coach and you have no idea how to run a challenge group, you have no idea where to put these people, you have no idea, you know, if one of your challengers comes to you and says, hey, I sprained my ankle, you know, and I don't know what to do. And you're like, I don't know what to do. Go to your doctor. How, you know what I mean? So that's a really poor example of a situation, but things along those lines. Or if you have somebody that comes to you and says, hey, I just found out I have thyroid issues and I'm, you know, gaining weight, or anything along those lines. If you have people come to you, you're dealing with 50 new customers as a new coach, and you have people coming to you with these problems and you don't know how to handle it, you're going to feel completely overwhelmed, and you're going to be like, whoa, this isn't for me. I can't do this. I'm not cut out for this. Okay. So sometimes slow and steady growth can be a huge blessing in disguise. Now, I'm not telling you to sit back and be like, oh, I'm just going to take my time and I'm not going to grow and I'm not going to try and I'm not going to push out of my comfort zone because I'm going to slowly grow into who I need to be. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, do what you can, push out of that comfort zone, you know, do everything that you know you need to do, but don't get so discouraged if like all your hopes and dreams don't come true like your first 6 months as a coach, okay? It might take a little bit of time. So, all right, so now let's talk about how you actually get those coaches that want to work the business. So now that I've told you that it's kind of a little bit of a gray area, I am going to tell you a couple things that I want you guys to do and think about to really try to attract those business builders. So the first thing is you need to be looking for like training on these topics. So you guys, the Beachbody Champions page is such an awesome page with information. I wish I would have had something like that back when I was a newer coach. I didn't have anything like that. All I had was YouTube. And with YouTube, you have to know what you're looking for. So you have to be like, okay, what am I trying to learn today? And you have to type it into the search bar. And then every now and then you'll get lucky and you'll fumble across some videos that you're like, oh, I wasn't looking for that, but it helped me. But what I really like about the Beachbody Champions page is that they are giving you the information that like you don't even know that you need to know. Like they're giving it to you. And the other thing is, it's all new information. So it's all coaches that are doing the things that they're telling you and the tips that they're sharing with you. That's all coming from like today and last month and the month before. It's not from like 2014 or 2015, which is really awesome because everything in life changes and evolves. You know, business, life in general, the way people are living, the way people are eating, everything evolves. So it's really awesome that this page gives you all this information up to date. And you have coaches that are coming in here and they're telling you exactly what they're doing. And guys, these people are no different than us. Like, yes, their lives might look a little bit different. And yeah, they might have some things that maybe make coaching easier for them if we want to go there. But at the end of the day, they're just normal old people like us who are successful, and they're coming in and they're telling us what they're doing to be successful. So go into that page or whatever resources you're using and use the information you're given. Watch the videos, take notes, you know, really listen to what they're saying and apply what you feel is fitting to you. So this is the other thing. Don't feel like every single training video you watch, you need to do exactly what that coach said to do, because you're going to find that all coaches do things a little bit differently. So you got to kind of navigate what works for you. What do you believe in? So a good way to tell this is when you're watching a video of a coach, a training video or whatever, and you're like, yes, that's me. Yes, she's speaking to me. Yes. Okay. You relate to that coach, which means that she's probably more like you, or he, I keep saying she, which means that your people are going to relate to you doing those actions. Okay. So those are the videos that you really want to take notes, and then you want to go do what they tell you to do. So that's the other thing. You can watch training videos all day long, but if you don't use the training and put it into action, it's not going to do anything for your business. You got to remember that people only know what you tell them, okay? So your potentials or your discount coaches or your current coaches who aren't working the business don't know that you're watching all these videos behind the scenes, and they don't care about it unless you tell them, unless you give them some type of value or show them some type of action that they're going to be able to see, okay? And then, so find the coaches who are successful and listen to what they have to say. You know, watch what they're doing to get an idea. Now, this doesn't mean that you need to go scroll through a coach's Facebook profile and copy and paste all of their posts to do what they're doing. You need to be your own person, because being authentic in this business and being your own person is super important for success. But sometimes it helps to just kind of get the light bulb going. You know, it makes the light bulb go off. It kind of gets your wheels spinning. If you go in and you watch these trainings, or you go scroll through some successful coaches' profiles, you know, or you find a coach that like you really relate to and you kind of see what they're doing, you'll find that it kind of gets your wheels spinning. And in those moments, you want to take note of that stuff. So if your wheels are spinning and you're thinking of all these post ideas, or you see a post that really speaks to you, copy that post. You know, I'm not saying copy it onto your profile. Like, take a screenshot of it and save it for you to remember. And then take it and make your own posts off of that. So get ideas from that and then take action and make your own posts, okay? So that's really kind of the key of what I was talking about earlier. When you find yourself in those moments where you're discouraged, or you're like, man, things just aren't moving where I want them to move. Okay, that means that it's time for you to dive in and make momentum happen again. That means that we're doing something wrong, right? Like, if we're feeling discouraged and things aren't happening, either A, we don't have enough momentum going in our business, so people aren't taking action, or B, we're not doing enough personal development, okay? So we're feeling discouraged and a little bit self-conscious when we shouldn't be. And I'll tell you guys that I still have those moments because I'm a human and I still have moments where like I'll have days where I just feel off or like the business isn't doing what I think I want it to do. And then I start with those thoughts again where it's like, oh, like what if things are going to start moving backwards or blah, blah, blah. And all these thoughts. Okay. And then as soon as that starts happening, I stop myself and I know, okay, Steph, it is time for you to dive into some personal development, get out of your own head and get your freaking momentum back. Okay. So when you start having those thoughts, dive into your personal development, dive into your workout. Okay. Do the things that are going to make you feel good and do the things that are going to make you get that momentum back, because at the end of the day, the thing that is going to move your business forward, the only thing that is going to move your business forward is momentum, okay? Excitement, action, momentum. Those are the things that people want to see and they need to see in order to get on the train and want to go with you. If you are in a rut and you're stagnant with life and your business and whatever, and you're staying there and you're not moving forward and you're not getting out of it, people don't want to join that, because the majority of people, that's where they're sitting right now. That's where the majority of people in this world are sitting. They're sitting in a stagnant spot or a comfortable spot where they're kind of just like, life is like, it's not bad, but it's not amazing. I'm just kind of here doing what I do every day. And deep down inside, they really want that momentum and they really want to push forward and make that change. And that's why they need to see you doing that. And that's not to say that you're not going to have bad days or bad weeks. Like, I'm not ignorant, okay? Like I said, we're all human and I still have those bad days and bad weeks. But just try to be aware of it and try not to stay in that spot for too long, because people do feed off of that momentum. Okay, and then the next thing I want you guys to think about is what attracted you to the business? I might need that back in a second. And this one is huge, because you guys have to remember that you're going to attract people that are like you. And that is your main goal, because you want people that are like you. You don't want people that aren't like you, because then you'll clash with them and it won't work, okay? So really stop and think about, what was it that made you want to sign up to be a coach, okay? And the person that inspired you to sign up, what did they share that inspired you? And I think that we all have at least one defining moment or one defining post that we all kind of think about when we think about what made us decide to become a coach. And it's funny, because I'll have my coaches come to me and they'll say, that one post that you shared where you said this, this, and this. And I'll be like, oh, I don't remember. What are you talking about? And I'll have to go back and I'll have to look and see what post they were talking about. But it's funny, because all everybody's kind of inspired by something a little bit different. Okay. And I can still tell you that 5 or it might have been 6 years ago when I first started thinking about it. Now, it was probably a little over 5 years ago, because I want to say I saw the coaching opportunity. I didn't know exactly what it was, but I kind of started seeing bits and pieces of it. And I think I only took a few months to decide that I wanted to do it. But that's kind of just my personality. I've kind of always been when I get something in my head, I jump into it and I do it. But I specifically remember it was a post by Lindsay Matway. And I can literally remember what she was wearing in my head. She had an orange dress on. She was sitting on a rock with tropical, vacation stuff behind her. She was on a vacation somewhere with Beachbody. I don't remember where it was. And I don't remember exactly what she said in that post, but I just remember seeing it and going, okay, that life, like that freedom, that's what I want. Like, I want that freedom and that life for my family. And that post is what really made me go, that is what I want. I want this. And it's funny because I didn't end up signing up with Lindsay Matway in the beginning. I was actually 3 spots down in her downline. And now it's crazy how God works, but now she's my upline coach. But I remember that post. Okay. So think about what made you decide to do coaching, or what inspired you to want to do coaching, and write it down. You know, if you find that you're struggling talking about like the business side of things, write it down. Write down what inspired you. And then you need to make sure that you talk about that, and you need to push out of your comfort zone in this area. Okay. So I find that with a lot of coaches, they get really comfortable with talking about like the workouts, and they get really comfortable with talking about their results. And I am guilty of this. This is the area that I've always been the most comfortable with. This is the area that I became the most passionate about in the beginning. Because when I first started coaching, I was really passionate about the results and changing my body and changing my, health and all that kind of stuff. And I was super into like the workout part of it. So naturally that just came to me, and that was like a natural passion and excitement that I easily shared. So I find that a lot of coaches, they share about this part of the business openly and easily. And they attract a lot of challengers because of that, which is great. Like you want both sides of it, but they lack in the part of sharing about the business and the things that inspired them to join the business. And so they have a hard time getting those people who want to work the business. So again, you have to think about what inspired you. And if, it was something like I talked about, like the freedom, you need to talk about that. And it doesn't have to be that you already have that, because guys, there were times when I was attracting business builders and I didn't have a life of freedom yet. I wasn't going on vacations with my family, and I didn't have the financial freedom and things like that. And we're still not where we want to be financially, like we still have debt. Tyler still has a full-time job. There's still things that we want to accomplish, and we're not there yet. So don't feel like just because you're not where you want to be, you can't talk about where you are. No matter how small you think the things that you're talking about are, you might think they're small, but to somebody else, they might be really big. So I remember when I was a newer coach, I shared about my first paycheck, and I want to say it was like $250 or something like that. And looking back, I'm like, oh, $250 wasn't that much. But at the time, it was huge. That was big to me. And I attracted a lot of people who wanted to work the business during that time. I didn't exactly know what to do with them because I was a newer coach, but I attracted them because I was sharing about that side of it. So just make sure that you're sharing about all sides of the business, okay? If you're only wanting to attract challengers, that's fine. Share about your workouts and all that. That's probably who you're going to attract. But if you want to attract people that want to work the business like you are, then you have to share about the stuff that inspired you to work the business, okay? And maybe that's because I don't know who is messaging me right now. Uh-oh. I feel like they might be trying to get on through Zoom, and it's calling my phone. So, you guys probably can't see it. It's saying that somebody is trying to message me on video on Facebook. Anyways, totally just lost my train of thought. But okay, so maybe what attracted you to the business was not like the financial freedom or, the time with your family or anything like that. Maybe what attracted you to the business was that you became a challenger first and you really fell in love with the products and you fell in love with all that kind of side, which is fine. Hold on, bub. Hold on, let me message Carrie. Okay, I don't know why I did that. So maybe it was, you know, you getting results and doing all that, which a lot of challengers do decide to work the business because of that. But there's still something else that made you decide to work the business, okay? So yes, you fell in love with the products and all that, but what made you decide that you wanted to make a business out of it? Is it because you wanted to help your friends get healthy too? You wanted to share this with other people because you loved the results you were getting? Is it because you wanted to make an income with it? Is it because you wanted to stay home with your kids? You know, there's something more to it. There's a reason you decided to turn it into a business, okay? So whatever that reason is, you need to make sure you're talking about that. And like I said, it doesn't have to be, hey, I'm making $1,000 a week. Look what I'm doing with all my money. It doesn't have to be that. It could be, hey, look at this $30 that, you know, put tank of gas in my car, you know, because of my business. It doesn't even have to be financial, okay? It can be, hey, I'm, you know, I know Robin has done posts about working the business at home with her kids sitting there next to her, okay? Showing people that you're home working your business with your kids. A lot of people want that opportunity. And if that's something that attracted you to the business, chances are it's going to attract somebody else that's like you who wants to sign up and who wants to work the business with you. Okay. So make sure that you are sharing about all of those different areas and that you're not only sharing the things that are going to attract challengers. If you want business building coaches, okay? If you just want challengers, that's fine. You can just share about that. But if you want people that are going to work the business, you got to share about all areas. And then the other thing is, guys, you got to get out of those comfort zones. You got to just put it out there and just be who you are and quit worrying so much about what people think or who you're going to lose or whatever, okay? I'm going to tell you that you will never, ever be able to please everybody. You will never be able to please everybody in your family. You will never be able to please all of your Facebook friends. Somebody will always have something to say, and there will always be somebody that wants to bring you down. I'm just going to be honest with you, okay? And it took me a while. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like it happened overnight. It took me a while to get to the point where I didn't care about those things anymore. But I can tell you honestly now, I don't care what people think about who I am, because I know that I'm a good person who has good intentions, who has a good heart, who does my best to do what I feel is right. And I am who I am, and I shouldn't have to change that. So just know that your mom might have something to say about you coaching, or your brother or sister or somebody might have something not so nice to say about what you're doing, okay? And a lot of times people put down things that they don't understand, okay? So don't feel like in the beginning, if everybody's like, what the heck is this that you're doing? Don't feel like that means that like they hate you and they're trying to like bring you down. Sometimes they really just don't understand, okay? I remember when I first signed up to be a coach, my mom was literally like, oh, so you're a beach body coach. So what does that mean? That you're going to post pictures of yourself in a bathing suit and like sell yourself on the internet? And I remember just thinking like, wow, thanks, Mom. Thanks for supporting me. I'm glad you think that that's what I would stoop to. But that was her first reaction. You know, she's like, protective mom. What is this thing you're doing? This is bull crap, this online business. Yeah, right. You're not going to go anywhere with it. And honestly, the majority of my family had that attitude about Beachbody for a long time. They thought it was kind of like a joke. They're like, there's no way you will ever make an income with that. Like, have fun with that, you know, but you're silly, Steph. Like, I quit nursing school, you know, and they're all like, what the heck are you doing? And the defining moment in that situation was when I had my first year of income where I pretty much surpassed all of them in their income that they make. And at that moment, they were finally like, oh, so this is like it's a real job. Okay. And then they kind of got it. But I'll tell you guys, those first couple of years, I didn't feel super supported in that department. Okay. I didn't feel like they really got it. And even to this day, I was just telling Tyler today, I'm like, it's really funny. I'm like, my business is great right now. Like, things are moving forward. Our team is freaking taking off. It's going to be an awesome year for us. But I have been like under attack on social media, on my Facebook lately. I've got people throwing jabs at me left and right about my pictures I'm sharing. My likes on my posts have been super low, a lot lower than they normally are. I've got like neighbors making like nasty little comments to me about my pictures and stuff like that. But it's funny because my business is doing great and lots of people are coming to me. Okay. So just recognize that when people don't understand something, or if people are unhappy with themselves, they're probably going to take it out on you. Okay. If they see that you're having success, or if they see that you're feeling good and you're happy and they're not in that place, they might have a hard time with that. Okay. And lately I've been sharing my results a lot. Okay. I'm loving the program I'm doing, and I'm loving the results that I'm getting. And unfortunately, that's making a lot of other people kind of look in the mirror and then look back at me and kind of lash out on me with this anger that's misdirected, but it's coming back on me. And I could stop and be like, you know what? I'm not going to share any more pictures of myself in my bathing suit because it's making other people feel bad. And that's what I would have done in the past. But no, like, that's not fair. I'm not posting pictures of myself and sharing results to brag or to make other people feel bad. I've been working my freaking butt off the last 2 months to get these results and to change my health. I've changed my diet. I've taken things out of my diet that were hard to take out. And I've been working my butt off to get to this place. So I am allowed to share where I'm at and the results I'm getting. And if people don't like it, guys, that's not my problem. Okay. So if you're sharing about what you're doing authentically and excitedly, and you're sharing to just share your journey and your life, if other people don't like it, that is not your problem. And don't stop sharing about you and your life to please other people. Okay. Because when you do that, you're not going to move forward. So what starts to happen is you start sharing unapologetically. You start sharing authentically. You're going to find that you're going to have some people that are probably going to throw jabs at you. You might find that your following slows down a little bit. You're not getting as many likes. Don't get discouraged. That's actually a good thing. That means that you are starting to share who you are so much that not everybody in the world can relate to you anymore. And that's a really good thing, because what happens at that point is the people that are not your people are going to start to not pay attention anymore, or they're going to start to go away. And then you're going to start finding the people who are your people. And you're going to start finding those people who can relate to you and who you can really help because they can relate to you. And you'll find that those people start kind of rushing in. Okay. So it's like this like full circle moment where the wrong people, or the people that are wrong for you, start to kind of go away. And then the people that are right for you start to kind of come in. Whereas if you sit in this position where you're like, I'm like walking on eggshells with my post and I'm not really going to put it out there, I'm just going to kind of put it out there a little bit, you're going to end up with all these surface level people that don't really totally relate to you, and they're not really ready to dive full force and go all in with you, okay? So don't be afraid to put it out there. Now, with that being said, I'm not telling you guys to go crazy on your social media. You still want to remember that this is your business, and you still want to maintain a little bit of professionalism, for lack of a better word. So try to, stay away from things like gruesome, awful stories about like kids and dogs and just things that are just like negative and awful that you don't want to share. Sorry about the toilet flushing in the background. My son just went to the bathroom. Things that you don't want, like just energy that you don't want to bring into your business is basically what you want to think about when you post things. Are these the type of people that I want to bring into my business? So the type of people that are going to read this post, or they're going to read this article that I'm sharing, are these the type of people that I would want to work with on a daily basis? So, if you have people, back that away from the computer, please. If you have people that are like fighting about politics everywhere on their social media, those probably aren't the type of people you're going to want to bring into your business necessarily, because those might be the type of people that just like to argue about anything, okay? So those are going to be your challengers that are like, no, I'm not doing the time nutrition this way. I'm going to do it my way. And you're going to be like, no, it's not going to work that way. And they're going to be like, yes, it will, because I know everything about everything, okay? So kind of think about that when you're posting things. Don't just go like totally like willy-nilly. Steph said I can post whatever I want about anything. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is post the things that are really true to you and true to your heart, that make you who you are. And don't be afraid to post about the things that are making you excited and making you happy, okay? And if that's because you're getting freaking kick-ass results from your workout program, you freaking post about that and don't care what other people think, okay? So those are all the things I wanted to kind of talk about with finding coaches who want to work the business. Go through all those things, watch the videos, think about what attracted you to the business, and then put it out there and stop being so afraid to just kind of put yourself out there. And you guys remember that if you get to a moment where you put yourself out there and you're like, man, I really put myself out there, and even if you do get some lashback or whatever, which you'll find that most of the time, all those fears that you have of what people are going to do or say, it doesn't end up happening, and it ends up being just fine. And actually, majority of the time when I put those big scary posts out there, I'll actually have people come to me and be like, hey, like, didn't know you went through that, or didn't know this was a part of your story. Like, let me tell you about this part of me. And it will actually bring people closer to me. But even if you do get some of that lashback or whatever, just know that you have a huge team here behind you. Like, we're all here with you, behind you. And we're not going to just sit back and let somebody, tear you down and not be there for you, okay? Now, I don't do the whole going back and forth in a war with people who want to fight with you. But what I will probably tell you is delete their comments and move on. And I will give you a high five for being awesome and tell you to quit worrying about other people, okay? But just know that you have a big team behind you. We're all here for you. If you ever do put a post up that you're like, that's really scary and I don't know how people are going to react, go in the team page. People, we do it all the time. Go in there and be like, hey, I put this post up. Do you guys mind like showing me some love or giving me a little bit of support? Sometimes it just makes us feel a little bit better, okay? Or go in there and be like, hey, I put this post up. Does somebody want to read through it and tell me if it sounds okay? Or send it to me. I will do that for you guys. No problem, okay? So don't be scared about that part of it. Don't be scared about putting yourself out there. And the last thing I wanted to touch on, is like pages. I get a lot of questions about like starting fitness pages, starting like pages on Facebook, or like moving on to like Instagram pages or things like that. So I've said before, I know most of you guys have heard me say this, but sorry, I've got like hiccups all of a sudden. When it comes to social media, you want to choose 1 or 2 platforms, and you want to really master those before you try to move on to anything else. And the number 1 platform that I always tell everybody to choose first and master is your personal Facebook page. And the reason for that is because the majority of your business is going to be run on your personal Facebook page. That's where your groups are going to be. It's where your challenge groups are going to be. It's where your team pages are going to be. It's where the, team trainings from your upline or corporate or whoever, that's where those are all going to be. So your personal Facebook page should be your number 1. Moving on from that, at this point in the business and in network marketing in general, I would say that your second one, I would probably say Instagram. At this point, Instagram seems to be pretty popular. There's a lot of training in the Beachbody Champions page for that too. So I would say the first 2 would probably be your personal Facebook page and Instagram. I would say those would be your first 2 to master, to really start working and master. On from that, then you can dive into like your Facebook like page or Pinterest. Like there's different ways that you can use Pinterest to grow your business. There's all kinds of platforms out there. There's Snapchat. Some coaches use Snapchat to grow their business. But you want to master 1 or 2 of them first, and you want to make sure that you don't make the mistake that a lot of coaches make, or the mistake that I made in the beginning. And I've talked to you guys about this before, where you kind of just start like throwing yourself into all these different things. It almost becomes like a distraction technique. So you're working your Facebook personal page, and you're having a moment in your business where you're like, it's not really doing what I want it to do. I don't have a lot of people coming to me. I'm not getting a lot of action. So where can I move on and go to next? And then, like me back in the day, I was like, all right, I'm going to make a like page. I'm going to hire a business coach. You know what? I'm going to start a website. That's why I'm not seeing the success I want to see, is because I don't have my own website. And I just started doing all this stuff, and it literally just became like noise. It was just clutter everywhere. And I wasn't actually mastering any of this other stuff. My personal Facebook page, I was keeping up with. But my like page, I wasn't mastering. I quit using Instagram because I was overwhelmed, which I have since gone back to. I started trying to dabble into making a website, and that was super overwhelming. I never even got past like coming up with my, I bought like my URL or whatever, and that's as far as I went with it. And I wasted all this time and money into doing all this other crap, guys, that really didn't matter. Okay. So yeah, when you get bigger, if you want, you can start doing those things like creating a website and all that kind of stuff. But I'm going to tell you guys right now, it's not necessary. And I have grown pretty much my entire business from my personal Facebook page, okay? And I know many successful coaches who have grown their entire business from their personal Facebook page. Lindsay Matway is a perfect example of that. Yes, Lindsay Matway has her own website, but to be honest, I don't think that her website really gets utilized that much. She has pretty much grown her entire business through her personal Facebook page. And she's been in the top 10 multiple times in the company. So the reason I'm telling you guys this is because a lot of coaches convince themselves that their personal Facebook page is not going to get them to where they want to be. I can't tell you how many times I hear, nope, I'm running out of warm market people. I got to go into my cold market. And I'm like, No, you're not, because I'm 5 years deep and I still haven't run out of my warm market. So don't tell me that you are running out of your warm market. You're not running out of your warm market. You're being lazy and you're running away from your warm market is what you're doing. I'm not calling any of you guys lazy, but that's what I used to do is I would literally be like, nope, like I'm running out of people. And then I would run the other direction when really what you should be doing is being like, okay, I feel like I'm running out of my warm market. So let me run into my warm market and figure out who I can help. Okay. Now, with that being said, mastering Facebook, Instagram, once you feel like you're good with those two things, then you can move on to like a Facebook like page. And I will tell you guys that I still have not mastered my Facebook like page simply because I have not had the time. I stay as busy as I need to stay with my personal page and my team and my challenge groups. I have gotten a couple people on my Facebook like page or from my Facebook like page. And I will tell you guys real quickly, I need to wrap up the call in about 5 minutes, so I'm not keeping you on here all night. I will tell you as quick and simple as I can basically what I do with my like page. I think I only have like 600 and something likes on that page, which is not very many at all. It has been a goal on my to-do list that I just have not been able to get to grow that page, and I will eventually one day. But right now there's other things that take priority. But what I do is I post on there semi-regularly. Honestly, the last few weeks I haven't posted on there much. But the main thing that I use it for is when I'm running free groups. So like I did like a Build a Booty group one time where I gave them like different exercises for like building your glutes or your butt. Recently I did more of a faith-based group at the beginning of the year, like when I just went through all that stuff where I was just like really like I just felt like I needed to surrender a lot. There was just something in me that was like, share this with other people and bring people into your network that way. And I shared a group with that. So what I do is I will share about whatever free group I'm running. I'll share about it on my personal page and I will share about it on my like page. And then generally what I will do is I will sponsor that group, that post, whatever I do talking about that free group, I will sponsor it on my like page and I will bring people in that way through my cold market. And I have gotten a few challengers this way and a couple coaches this way. So it is a good tool to utilize. And I could probably be doing a lot more with it if I had the time to invest in that. But right now I don't. But it's there and one day I will. So it is a good tool to utilize if you have the time. But just make sure that you are staying focused on your personal Facebook page first and foremost. You know, you're really going through your friends list and talking to those people, engaging with them and creating those relationships. Make sure that you're adding new friends on your Facebook profile. You can do this by adding friends of friends, or you can literally go like, if you know you have somebody on your Facebook page that you're like, man, I just really like this girl. Like she speaks to me. Like I just feel like we would be really good friends. Go through her friends list. This sounds like really weird, but honestly, this is how relationships with network marketing are built. And you will find some of the greatest people this way. I'm telling you, like I've done it and I'm like, man, I like these girls more than I like my friends that I grew up with. But go through the people that like you like and you feel like you really, you know, get along with. Go through their friends and see like, all right, would I get along with this girl? Hey, does she have kids? Do I have kids? Like, what do I like about her? Go through those pages. If you find somebody that you're like, man, I think this girl and I could be friends, friend request her, because chances are she's going to go through your Facebook profile and she's going to think the same thing. She's going to be like, oh yeah, like this girl and I would get along. Okay, we'll become friends. And that's kind of how it works. So, you know, utilize your warm market that way. Make sure that you're doing everything you can, and then you can move on to your like page. And then as far as growing your like page and doing all that kind of stuff, the best thing I can recommend when you're ready to dive into that is to just YouTube the crap out of some like page videos. Because I can tell you guys that I am not a professional on like pages. I have literally just done everything through trial and error. Like I said, I found one of the things that works for me is to sponsor my ad for a free group and to bring people in that way. And what I do is I have them comment and say that they want to join whatever group I'm running. And then I friend request them on my personal page and I add them to my group, to my free group. So then that way they're now in my warm market on my personal page. So I transitioned them from, you know, my like page onto my personal page. So that's the way I do it with that. It does work well for that. There's also some other trainings out there that you can like buy. There's one by like Jesse Regan, I think is his name. It's like, I want to say $300. I don't know if the price has changed. You can buy them and it's actually like a whole training that walks you through like everything on how to grow a like page, how to sponsor everything, how to do all that. It's all a tax write-off. So if you ever invest in anything like that, it is a tax write-off. But again, don't go buying all this stuff and investing in all this stuff. Unless you really are like, hey, like I really want to dive into my like page and that's really what I want to do. So that is my take on that. Start with mastering your personal Facebook page, mastering your Instagram once you feel like you're there and you feel like you're ready to dive into your like page or a different platform, then just really go on YouTube and just start watching videos and trainings and stuff, and it'll kind of walk you through everything. And then from there, it's just a little bit of trial and error. You know, you're going to do some things and you're going to find out what works for you and what doesn't. So that's pretty much it with that. Robin, did you have any questions specifically like about like pages or anything? Okay.
No, I think you answered pretty much everything.
Okay.
It's pretty much just an extension from your personal page, right?
Yeah. So basically, like, the whole point behind like pages is to be able to bring in cold markets, because the only thing different from like pages is that you're able to sponsor your ads. So at that point, like when you sponsor an ad, you can actually go in and choose like, I want females from the ages of 25 to 35 who, you know, their interests are this, this, and this. So you actually choose like things that people are interested in. So like, I love being a mommy, or like Coca-Cola, you know, or Starbucks. Because if somebody's drinking those things, you know, chances are they might need to get healthy. So you can go in and you can actually choose those things, and then you can target the market that you're marketing. So like you'll notice in your newsfeed when you're scrolling, you'll see like random people pop up, or you'll see like random ads and things like that. And that's because you were targeted in their market somehow. So something that you like or you associate with is part of what they chose. And that's why a lot of times when those things pop up in your newsfeed, you're like, oh, what is this? Like, I really like this chick. Like, yeah, like she's speaking to me. And it's because she is targeting you, because that's her market. So that's the cool thing about like pages, is that you can really like choose who you're targeting. And chances are you're automatically going to find some people that like really kind of relate to you and you speak to because you're alike. So that's the advantage of that, is really being able to kind of target your cold market that way. And then, you know, a lot of coaches, once you hit your maximum friends on your personal Facebook page, which is like 5,000 friends, which once you max out, then, you know, coaches move on to their like page, because that's like the easiest way to bring new people in. But I'm not even close to maxing out on my friends list. So it's just, I mean, it's just personal preference, and it's just kind of how you grow your business, you know, and different coaches do it different ways. But no doubt I would definitely, you know, focus on your personal page first. And then, because the other problem is like you don't want to get overwhelmed. Like you don't want to be like, oh, you know, now I have like 3 pages I have to remember to post on. And then it's like your content kind of starts to dwindle a little bit, because instead of like really putting good content on one page, you're like, oh, I'm trying to, you know, spread all this content out through all these different networks. But once you get to a point where you feel like you can do that, then it is a good tool to have. And I'm not saying don't dive into your like page now. You could even start, you know, putting stuff on there now and just kind of playing around with it, having people like it. That's what I did. And like I said, I only have like 600 and something likes on there. So you can do that too and just kind of do it as you go. And then when you feel like you're ready to like really dive into it hardcore, then you can really dive into it and start getting all those likes and everything. So, but yeah. All right, ladies. Well, I will let you get off here. Thank you for getting on, and I will share the recording for everybody else. If you guys come across any questions or anything, let me know, and keep me updated in the group chat of how the month is going for you and if you guys need help with anything. Oh, the other thing I was going to tell you two, while I have you on here, let me stop recording. Not that I can't record this, but it'd be a waste of the recording.